Well, it looks like the next big Harry Potter game is going to be a Harry Potter Lego game. And we do know there already is a Lego Harry Potter game out there. I remember originally playing that one with my wife, and it kind of fell into the old Lego game format. There was even a DC game with Batman that I felt like kind of fell into the format where it was very sort of point and click. Go to this room, solve this puzzle. You need this character, this spell, or this person to do this. And it was very lacking in player volition. Now, if you've paid close attention to the Lego video games recently, Lego Skywalker Saga is phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. I will give you a point of advice, though. If you're going to play that game linearly and sort of go from mission to mission to mission, you're probably not going to enjoy it. I would recommend playing the movies in order, all 9 movies, and explore exhaustively every time you get to an area. It's meant to be a more open world action-adventure style game. Each individual character type has skill trees to invest in, and that may end up heavily influencing the next big Lego video game. It's going to be a Harry Potter game, according to sources. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, a lot of Lego games recently got canceled, which is a bummer, but it may end up resulting in a very good and substantive project centered around Harry Potter. Let's take a look at this article from Gamerant.com. Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga's successor, is smart to follow in Hogwarts Legacy's footsteps. There's no way you haven't paid attention to that. The Hogwarts Legacy commercial success is having an impact on the market, seemingly impacting what they plan to do with the next Lego project. A recent report has just confirmed that TTGames has canceled a handful of projects, but its focus now turns to a brand new Lego Harry Potter game. Well, there's 7 books. There's all the films. You could certainly go through it in a similar way that they did all of the films with Star Wars, so let's read what we know. For the last 2 decades, TTGames has had almost complete control over the Lego video game market, releasing countless licensed titles from Lego Star Wars to Lego Batman to Lego Marvel, and just about everything in between. The most recent release from TTGames was 2022 Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which paved the way for a new age of large-scale open-world Lego titles, and it seems like the studio is already hard at work on its next game, another large-scale title based on the Harry Potter franchise. Now, keep in mind, the way that they typically do these games in the past, they were extremely linear, and the Skywalker Saga was a significant departure from that. That's why I said, listen, take my advice. It is a phenomenal game. It's super fun, great couch co-op, so many puzzles. The combat's actually very satisfying. They added lots of different things and investment paths for you, and if you don't play exploratory, you're going to be really annoyed. If you just purely play linear, it'll literally have you go to a place and say, hey, go up to this guy and talk to him. All right, now leave. All right, now fly. All right, now land. All right, now go talk to this person. You don't want to do that. You're going to wear yourself out. Make sure you're taking the exploration routes and looking around before advancing each quest. Thanks to a recent report, so this is more on this information. Thanks to a recent report from Nintendo Life, it's been tentatively confirmed that a handful of projects over at TTGames have just been canceled, with only a Lego Harry Potter game in a similar vein to the Skywalker Saga surviving the call. While some of these projects had some real potential, it's easy to understand that TTGames' resources may have been stretched too thin, and focusing just on a new Lego Harry Potter game seems like the smart move right now. I would look at this and say it's clear what they're doing. They're going to take everybody, all the people that were sort of getting split up for all the different projects, and they're going to unify the bandwidth and the resources and the workload and say, listen, we need to make the next big Harry Potter game. We could have massive success, because Lego combined with Harry Potter is a huge bolst and burst, I think, to the relevancy and the intrigue and the interest, from anybody who's wanting to play it. if you looked at, Hogwarts Legacy's appeal, it hasn't even hit, at the time I'm recording this, it hasn't even hit the old-gen consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and it hasn't hit the Nintendo Switch yet. So the Harry Potter franchise and Harry Potter video games stand to be extremely successful going forward, and when you combine it with Lego, it's going to absolutely crush. The Rivendell set just released, and it's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. TTGames is smart to focus on Harry Potter right now. Couldn't agree more. Let's see what they have to say. The recent report from Nintendo Life suggests that 4 big profile projects have been canceled at TTGames. Now you have to consider what I said up above. If they had 4 big profile projects, that's a lot of people, bandwidth, and potential developers and staff that can be shuffled to a Harry Potter Lego game. That could be a huge boost and bolstering effect to how many people can work on this game. I mean, that can make it amazing. Because if you think about it, when you play through the 9 games in Skywalker Saga, they're like miniature games within a game. There's story, there's cinematics, there's all these sets, and there's all these characters, and you would certainly want to see that with Harry Potter if they go through the 7 books, and they might even go beyond that. I don't know if they would get into Fantastic Beasts and all the other stuff that they've done. I'm not a huge Harry Potter guy. I just started reading the books to see how scary they are, gauging them for my kids. Once we're done with Redwall, I'd like to move on to Harry Potter. These cancellations include a Lego Guardians of the Galaxy game, that's a big one, that was reportedly in development for 18 months. Well, that's a huge bummer. There was going to be a mobile port of Lego Worlds, a non-Lego shooter set to feature a plethora of Warner Brothers characters, and, this is the heartbreaker right here, a Diablo-like Disney game using characters from across the company's history. According to the report, a new Lego Batman game was also put on hold, as has a Mandalorian narrative DLC for the Skywalker Saga. Now that one breaks my heart because I would have loved to have seen some Mandalorian DLC brought to the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga game. But again, I think they're looking at the meteoric success of Hogwarts Legacy and saying, we can absolutely, potentially, they could maybe exceed the sales of Hogwarts Legacy. That's a pretty insurmountable task, but if you think about how approachable Lego games are and how popular Lego is within Harry Potter, I mean, every time I go to Target now, that's all I see are Lego Harry Potter sets. It could be a very, very good thing. So if you're looking at the scope of the projects that they were potentially building, and you bring that scope to bear on just one title, this thing could actually end up being bigger than the Skywalker Saga, because a Guardians of the Galaxy game was going to be significant, another Batman game, and then a Mandalorian DLC. That is a lot of scope and a lot of power being thrown behind just one title. Again, that's my theory as to what's going on. You wouldn't cancel those titles unless you were going to move the people. You would just keep the titles going. Why not? A Guardians game would do great. A Batman game would do great. A DLC for Skywalker Saga would do great. You're almost assuredly canceling those projects to bring people over to the Harry Potter one. While there are surely a few good reasons behind these cancellations, Nintendo Life suggests that the biggest reason behind these decisions was to give more resources to the development of a new Lego Harry Potter title, as I've been saying. Though Nintendo Life's report doesn't have too many details on the game, it does mention that it's being designed on a similar scale to the Skywalker Saga, likely meaning multiple open-world hubs, missions that span the entire franchise, and hundreds of playable characters. What I would be curious about is, are they going to go with a more traditional action-adventure feel, like just have you playing as a wizard the whole time? In the Skywalker Saga, you're sort of constantly changing. Sometimes you're a droid, sometimes you're a stormtrooper, sometimes you're someone with force powers that are dark or light, and then you're sort of leveling up those skill trees as you go and as you spend those points. I'd be curious if they were going to do that. I'd also be curious if they're just going to make the central hub and world Hogwarts and the surrounding areas in the Forbidden Forest, because that's what they did in Hogwarts Legacy, and it worked incredibly well. Obviously, a Lego game would be very different, but that'd be a great way to bring that open world feel. But something they did in Skywalker Saga that could really benefit a Lego Harry Potter game would be going to locations sort of in the travel. You wouldn't use ships, right? You'd use the train. Well, you travel in the Star Wars game. You kind of go to a new location. So you wouldn't even need to have that central hub. You could kind of have that be the place you go back to select your movies, and then that would then take you to the new areas. Putting all of the studio's resources into a new Lego Harry Potter game is probably a very smart decision to make right now. Despite all the controversy surrounding it, the recent Hogwarts Legacy has performed incredibly well sales-wise, selling over 12 million copies in its just first 2 weeks and having continued to sell ridiculously well since. Yeah, keep in mind, that's 12 million copies on next-gen and PC only. There are way more PlayStation 4s in circulation. There are so many Nintendo Switches in circulation. That title ain't done yet. Probably the most commercially successful title of 2023 and likely to set some records that'll be hard to outdo in the future. It's clear that the Harry Potter IP is still incredibly lucrative, and it only makes sense that Warner Brothers would want to cash in on this success as much as possible, which could potentially mean putting pressure on TTGames to deliver a Lego Harry Potter game as soon as possible. But while all these cancellations could potentially stem from a desire to cash in on the latest trends, this isn't really TTGames' MO. And regardless of any publisher pressures, the studio is likely to put its full heart and soul into creating the best Lego Harry Potter game it possibly can. Before Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga's release, TTGames released a handful of behind-the-scenes videos, and each one showed the immense passion the team had for the Star Wars IP. Yeah, keep in mind, it took a really, really long time for the Skywalker Saga to come out, and they would just not give us a release date. I really liked that. Once I saw the cover art, I was so hyped. I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so much fun. I've played it a bunch with my kiddos and my wife. It's a fantastic game. But they weren't really given release dates, and I think that's because, as they're saying, there was so much passion and so much care being poured into the game. I would imagine they would do something similar with Harry Potter. I think it might end up being bigger and probably more substantive since they're putting so much work and bandwidth behind it. They're literally canceling projects to bolster this significant IP. That's a large part, here we go, of why the Skywalker Saga felt so fun to play, as it was clear that it was a game for the fans, built by fans. So if TTGames is currently hard at work on a new Lego Harry Potter, then fans can be sure that the team behind it is just as passionate. And then it lets you know, hey, Skywalker Saga is available for PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X and S. This is another great reason to build a Harry Potter Lego game, because if Hogwarts Legacy launches and has some trouble on the Nintendo Switch or the Xbox One or PS4, a Lego game would not have those problems. Whenever I play a Lego game on the Switch, the load time can be a little rough, but overall, it's a great experience. It runs just fine. It's not a graphically demanding game. I mean, Lego games can pretty much run on a potato because there's not a lot going on graphically. Now, some of the areas are larger and you might deal with frame rate issues, stuttering, or load times, but overall, I think fans would be more forgiving of a Lego game that doesn't quite run super polished on an older system. It's not going to be quite as easy to overlook that in Hogwarts Legacy if it struggles with performance on those old systems. So this could be the next big Harry Potter game, and I'm anxious to see once they start trotting out trailers, cover art, or finally letting us know that's what's going on, because man, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of smoke here, a lot of projects getting canceled, and the only one that survived was Harry Potter, the boy who lived. How ironic. Not really. Anyways, if you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit the bell button, that way you don't miss my uploads or my live streams so I can see you in the next video.